Hey guys, welcome to the start of what I hope will be a rewarding project, and that is to restore this Norelco protogram to its former glory and get it working. This video is going to be a little bit of a triage and a kind of a hodgepodge of speculating how to move forward with the project, giving you an update on some of the parts I need that I've just acquired today, and one in the past, and just some other odds and ends I picked up. So I had a nice little visit with Tom from the Antique Radio Club of Illinois. He's the one I traveled down to St. Louis with to get this set, and he noticed I needed a couple connectors, and I believe he set me up with what I need. So if you recall from the intro video, this is a projection set. That's the business end. This projects an image onto a wall upwards of 3 by 4 feet. And you hook it up to a television from the late 40s, it would have a screen as small as 10 inches. So from 10 inches diagonally to about 4 feet diagonally, 5 feet diagonally, that's quite an improvement. Now, it's not super bright. I've heard it's about as bright as a home black and white projector would have been, like a 16 millimeter home projector. So you would certainly need to be in a dim room. They say you can just project onto a wall, but I imagine some type of silverized, reflective screen would work even better. We'll see. I do have a tabletop set with a pop-up rear projection screen on it, but that's not working either, so I've never actually seen one of these functioning. Now this is in rough condition. It was not stored in the best environment, so the wooden cabinet that it's in is deteriorated quite a bit. So I think that should be my first step, is to stabilize this, especially this rail here that's coming loose. I want to make sure this does not deteriorate any further. There are wheels underneath it that it should be rolling on, but they are not functioning very well. One of them broke off. I do have it. So one thing I want to do is tip this thing on its back, or on its side rather, and examine the bottom and see exactly what's going on down there, and work up a plan of how to glue this and get this back into some sort of condition. Alright, so I have the projection unit, the high voltage power supply, a little sub chassis up here, a switch up front that goes to this rotary deal here. But what I'm missing are the cables that are supposed to go from this unit to the TV that should sit on top. So this is not a functioning TV on its own, it's just a projection system. You have to attach this to a working TV, which I will dig up from my collection. Well, Tom saw my video. He eyeballed these connectors and he verified me with how many pins they have, and I think he set me up. The man knows his stuff. So one of them is a 6-pin, looks like an old style tube base. I don't know why, but it's stapled up here, so there's a really short lead wire on it. But let's see if we can get this on there. Orientation, alright. There we go. Yes, indeed. So this is a 6-pin female with a nice metal shroud. I'm not sure how large the cable diameters need to be. Some of these wires are for signals, but I'm not sure if it needs any power from the set for the filaments or anything like that, because I don't see a plug on this. So I don't know if this needs to get AC or DC power, filament power from the donor set, or if this has power transformer hidden away somewhere. I need to study the service info and setup info for this to figure that out. The other connector is an 11-pin. So I have an 11-pin female here, and keyway lined up, and yeah. All right, thank you, Tom. We can check one item off the list at least. So in addition to the wood being in rough shape, there's a little bit of light surface corrosion on all this stuff. So even these pins on here. Also, I'll go over all that stuff with deoxit, evapo rust as needed. Something else I dug out is this guy. Now that is a new old stock projection CRT, the 3NP4. That's what's hidden away in here. You can kind of see it through the glass a little bit here, and that is the business end, or the electrical connector goes to this end. Here, I'll pull it out so you can see what it looks like. It is laughably small for what it can do. So there you go. That is what is inside one of these guys, a 3NP4. So that's it, just a little 3-inch. I think it's actually only 2.5-inch diameter of functioning phosphor. I was asked, what the heck is this for? That's where the high voltage connects. It's not water cooled or forced air cooled or anything like that. Larger ones were. More commonly, they were 5-inch projection sets. RCA, Philco, a number of other makers made them. Those were also not forced air or water cooled. They ran at around 30,000 volts. This runs on 25,000. But there were 7 and maybe larger inch diameter projection CRTs. They were used in movie theaters. I've only seen them at the Early Television Museum. I'd love to see the entire functioning apparatus. I've only seen some grainy black and white photos online because those ran on, I think, 50,000, 75,000 volts, and those were water or forced air cooled. Quite a sight to behold, I imagine. So that's where your high voltage connects. And there's the European style base. Very nice getters. I can't test these, but I know this one is good. So I have no idea if this one is good or not, other than being able to check the filament continuity. But worst case scenario, if that's dead, I do have this one. These are not common, but I wouldn't say they're super rare either. I do know of a couple collectors that have examples of these. So if need be, if I get lost, if I need some reference photos, I think I would be able to get them. Alright, so we were on our way. Step 1 was to acquire it. Step 2 was to muscle it into the house. It's a bit heavy, even though there's not a whole lot of iron inside of it. It's a heavy cabinet. And step 3 was to start getting some parts. Now let's try to tip this on its side. Well, before I tip it, let's take a look at the condition of the cabinet a little more. Well, there's no point in sugarcoating it. The cabinet is rough. The sides aren't too bad. The front isn't too bad. We have some, looks like face cut veneer here. It's got some interesting figuring to it. Seems relatively tight. It's the top though it's going to be a little bit of a challenge. Not a challenge, but a little bit of work, let's say. So it looks to be a piece of plywood, 3/4 inch thick, I would guesstimate, or maybe 1/2 inch. There's some miter molding tacked on around the side. It's starting to open up a little bit. You can glue and clamp that down. That's not that big a deal. The plywood in some areas is delaminating a little bit. And then of course we have veneer separation. Not too bad along this edge, not too bad at this corner. The rest of it, it's pretty bad. So it's separated, it's like all this. And here it's not only separated, but it's splitting and it's a bit warped. And I imagine the underlying plywood, oh yeah, that's actually the bigger issue, I think, is the plywood. Because it's actually swelled up. So I need to glue it and clamp it down to get it so it's all really flat. Now the cabinet is not the really valuable or interesting part of this. So I do not need to restore it to museum quality, I don't think. Because what I could do is remove the entire top and install something like that, a new piece of modern veneer. I believe this is mahogany. No, it's face cut too. And it looks kind of nice too. So I think it's good enough I can salvage it. The challenge is to adhere it and flatten it. Now ideally I would have some kind of press and to squeeze the heck out of this. Get adhesive under there and then put a couple tons of pressure on this and just smash it flat. I don't have that, but I do have clamps, and I just ordered up some more clamps. And the one good thing, this whole back edge is opened up, this I have plenty of area I can work in a clamp and get in there well. This won't be so easy because there's a front and there's a side. I can't easily get a clamp, say, in this area. I can only get a clamp to go in maybe an inch. So what I can do is flood glue under there, put a board across this, and clamp it on the edge. And I do have a pipe clamp. I should get another one that will extend a little bit further in. But they get a bit expensive. I don't want to spend a couple $100 on clamps for a project that I won't probably need again. So I want to kind of balance this project out with doing a good job, but not going crazy overboard, because I want to focus more on this stuff. But I do have to stabilize this because I'm going to be putting a very heavy TV on top of it, and I need this to roll. See, this wheel here is rubbing against the wood, so I think, yeah, I see what's happened. It's detached. It's supposed to be like that, but it's crapped out. So let's get this thing on the side and see what's going on down there. Now we can get a better look inside as well. And I noticed that the projection assembly was mounted on some hinges, and now I see why. There's a control up that way. I think a keystoning adjustment or something like that. It's just a threaded rod that allows the top to move in and out, and it's hinged, so that controls simply this angle, the angle of this box, as it projects onto the wall. So this top can move like that. Wiring's a little rough. But it looks like that's just going to some sockets. That chassis corroded. We're really going to have to break this thing down. Like I said, there's light surface corrosion all over. I do want to be a little careful on this stuff, though. I would prefer not to have to open this up, because there are a lot of delicate adjustments. See, there's all over the place. Adjustment. I don't want to have to go through all that. Actually, it looks like you can take maybe the side off. Now, the optics in this, you need to be extremely careful if you want to think about cleaning them, because the mirrored surfaces in there are front surface mirrors. It's not a piece of glass that's silvered on the back and you can clean the glass. The reflective surface is on top of the glass. So if you were to spray Windex on it, you're spraying Windex on the reflective metal, and that's a really bad idea. It's really, really soft. It's really sensitive to scratching. Even with a microfiber cloth and Windex, I think it would really mess up the surface. I imagine there are specialized cleaning solutions and cloth that you can use. I know there are places where you can get it resilvered, but hopefully we won't. We won't worry about it all. No matter what condition it's in, even if it's a little bit dirty, we can get it working. That's the last thing I'm going to worry about. That's the high voltage supply, and that's a little chassis for I think doing some amplification of the input video signal, and stuff like that, a power supply. So there is a power transformer, and there's a rectifier, there is an electrolytic, I think it's a filter choke. But there's no AC plug, so this must get AC power from the donor set. So the female ends of these need to go into the donor set and tie into various points. So AC power, video signal, the horizontal and vertical deflection signals. Okay, let's get to the ugliness, the bottom. Alright, we've got some spider webs and some plywood that actually is pretty solid and quite beefy. Yeah, it's 3/4 inch thick. So there's the one wheel broke off there. All the others are all loose. There should be 4 screws. There's only 2 on this one, only 2 on this one. I think only 2 on that one, or all 4. 3 of them are there, and one of them is pulled out. So, thing to do is remove all the wheels. I do have the 4th one. Throw them in evapor rust, get all this corrosion off, clean out the dead spiders, get it all lubed up, and then put some filler in these holes, maybe use larger screws, and get that well bonded in there. And get those wheels working. They're all here and they rotate well enough. We get a better look at this wood too. It's got a pink tinge to it. It is possible this is solid mahogany. It's also entirely possible it's something like poplar, and it's just absorbed some of the colorant toner lacquer that was put on this. The gold they were going for sure looks to be brown mahogany, which was super common of the period. So it's the dead of winter. It's going to be getting down to negative degrees in a couple days. I can't do any refinishing. I can do all the gluing and the clamping, which I will, and maybe even start stripping it and putting on sanding sealer and such. But I do want to use spray lacquer like I usually use in toner lacquers. I can't do that till the spring. So there's only so much we can do, but we can certainly stabilize this. We can do all the repairs, get this all rock solid, all the wheels turning, remove the corrosion, do all that stuff over the winter. And of course work on the electronics. Check out that rotary switch that goes all the way to the front. That's the mode switch. That switches between... That's the cool thing about this. It's not that you can only use the projection system. It's you can switch between the direct view set, which would sit on top of this, or you can switch to using the rear view. Now when you do that, I'm not sure what happens to the direct view CRT. In other words, does the image still exist on that set? Does it cut power to the CRT filament? Because I would prefer, this was me in this day and age, if I'm going to be watching this for hours, I would like to kill power to the direct view CRT so I don't have to wear both of them out at the same time. But back in the day when you could get replacements and this was kind of a novel thing, they might not have cared so much about that. They might have just kept juice running to both of them at all times. I don't know. So I have my work cut out for me. A lot of corrosion to remove, a lot of gluing, a lot of clamping. So I already went ahead and went on Amazon and ordered up a bunch of C-clamps. And I'm going to take better stock of what I've got here, start cleaning it off the cobwebs. And I'll get going on removing the rust on these. That's the easiest thing I can start doing right now. So I'd really like to get this stable and rolling instead of being bottomed out the way it is now. All right, I think we're going to wrap it up here. I welcome any of your thoughts or inputs or suggestions because this is all fairly new to me, and I think it's going to be quite an interesting project. That's for sure. Thanks for watching.